Pluto is about to enter the last degree of Capricorn. And then in November, guys, this powerful, potent, transformational planet will leave the sign of Capricorn and will not return there for over 246 years. To say that this is a monumental shift in our cosmic world and in your personal world is an understatement. I want to discuss the gravity of this shift, and that's what this video is all about. And I am going to talk to you about a concept called last licks in a sign. And this video will give you a mini horoscope for every sun sign and rising sign and what those last licks of transiting Pluto in your chart means for you. So stay with me. But first, hello there. My name is Maria D. Simone. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you decide to subscribe and stick around. I am a professional astrologer, and you can find out more about me and my work at insightfulastrology.com, where I offer personal consultations, astrology coaching packages, and I have an entire astrology school that offers classes that can take you from the beginner level all the way through advanced and professional, if that is your desire. Right now, registration is open for my relationship astrology class, which is an intermediate class that teaches you about the branch of astrology called synastry and relationship analysis, the comparison of one person's chart against another's, and how that influences a specific relationship dynamic. This is a really in-depth class that covers all sorts of topics in relationship astrology. We are going to be very personal in this class, and you are all allowed to use the chart of somebody in your life you have a relationship with to study your relationship dynamics. It could be a personal romantic relationship, it can be a family member, a friend, anybody in your life that you want insight into the relationship connection with. We'll discuss karmic connections, how to look at the two birth charts to determine the meaning of this relationship, the greater lessons inherent in the relationship, past life contacts, and so much more. So, if you are interested in this class, the early bird registration rate ends September 14th, and that saves you $55 off of the tuition. This is a class that will begin on September 28th. All classes are recorded and sent to you. So if you cannot attend live, don't worry. And you receive my unlimited email support and personalized homework assignments while you are a student of mine. I hope you join us. So let's talk about Pluto. There is this concept called last licks. And I first heard of this from my very first astrology teacher, a woman by the name of Anastasia, who used to have an entire metaphysical school here on Long Island in New York, and she later relocated it to Florida. And so my very first formal schooling of astrology was through her correspondence school, the Astrological Institute of Integrated Studies. I'm not even sure if it exists anymore, but it was from Sandy Anastasia that I heard this concept of a planet giving you last licks. What does that mean? Well, last licks is literally when a planet is moving through a specific area of your chart for the very last time. And whatever experiences and lessons are related to that planetary energy in your chart and in the house it's transiting will culminate during the time period that that particular planet is wrapping up its lessons. And, other astrologers will talk about this in a different way. The more proper technical term is that Pluto will be at the anaretic degree, the 29th degree of the sign Capricorn. And any planet moving through the 29th degree of a sign is reaching a very important climax, a crisis point, a wrap up of its evolutionary potential, of its charge in your life, whatever that suggests. So, Pluto, the planet of intensity, the planet of death, rebirth, transformation, crisis, power. This very potent planet has been in the sign Capricorn since January of 2008. And while we're in a process now where Pluto is straddling between Aquarius and Capricorn, what is happening on September 2nd of this year is that Pluto will re enter Capricorn for the very last time. Pluto will reach the 29th degree and 38th minute of Capricorn on October 12th. And at that time, Pluto turns direct. So Pluto stations direct October 12th at 29 degrees, 38 minutes, and then starts to move forward until it reaches Aquarius on November 19th. And once that happens, Pluto will never go back into Capricorn again. So the next several weeks from September 2nd until November 19th, and that very important day of October 12th when Pluto stations, these are super important times for a great many of us. And I want you to get out your chart. If you don't have a copy of your birth chart, you can Google free chart makers. I have, there are so many on the internet. You can plug in your birth data and get a free copy of your birth chart so that you can see what we're talking about here. And you can determine where in your chart that 29th degree of Capricorn falls, what house in your chart that is in. And this is going to be the house or the area of your life where Pluto is giving you its last licks. So, on a collective level, Pluto in Capricorn has been a very big transit that's been completely breaking down specific structures in our life, in our world, actually, that have to do with government and power and authority. And that has been stripped down and completely transformed. And that lesson collectively is finishing up. I'm not going to focus in this video on that collective astrology, the mundane astrology, the astrology of world events. That's not the branch of astrology that I specialize in. That's not the branch that I'm personally passionate about either. I'm much more passionate about what's in it for you. What does it mean for you in your life and your personal journey? And so that 29th degree of Capricorn does suggest a very big wrap up of some kind of big power lessons connected to the area of your chart it's touring. And on a personal level, I'm seeing Pluto in Capricorn for you more about breaking down those barriers in that area of your life where Pluto has been transiting so that you can break through to the healing, the transformation, the personal power that Pluto has been trying to teach you about. More importantly, the correct use of this personal power. That is very important when we're talking about Pluto. Pluto isn't just about you being in the driver's seat and wielding all of this power. The bigger Pluto lesson always has to do with the correct and responsible use of that power. So Pluto is transiting a very different area of everybody's chart. I will get to that specifically when I get to the horoscope part. But I want you to think about what this means for you, the last licks, the last experiences of your life that you will have as Pluto is at that 29th degree, wrapping up this important lesson for you. Have you really learned how to correctly take back your power in this area of your life? What does that look like for you? And I definitely want to hear in the comments what your experiences have been as this Pluto transit is wrapping up. So before I get to the houses and the more general energy here, I want you to look at your birth chart and pay attention to whether or not you have any planets. So personal planets, the planets that travel closer to the sun. So this is the sun, obviously the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. If you have any of those personal planets at or near the 29th degree of Capricorn, and keep a tight orb here, 2 or 3 degrees, or a cardinal sign, Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, then you are wrapping up these experiences with a greater sense of urgency, of intensity, of imminence. And that feeling of the 29th degree, the anoretic degree, is likely to produce more of that crisis energy for you guys than it is for somebody else. If you have a planet or an angle, so the ascendant, fourth house, seventh house, or 10th house, at around 29 degrees of another earth sign, so Taurus or Virgo, or even a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, then this transformation is much easier to flow into for you. And you're really likely to feel the empowerment and the rewards as Pluto is finishing up his tour at the 29th degree of Capricorn. So let's talk about what this means for you based on your rising sign. Remember, the rising sign is the closest to being accurate to your actual birth chart. The closest. Nothing replaces your actual birth chart because there can be slight differences depending on the house system that you're using, but you're going to get a really close idea mathematically with the rising sign forecast. And the sun sign forecast will always be accurate because this is how horoscopes were developed to be read from the beginning when they were popularized. And so they are always going to be thematically correct. So you can go ahead and watch for your rising sign and your sun sign for every single horoscope out there. Your job is to blend the information together. So, Aries, you guys have been having Pluto since 2008 move through your 10th house of career. This is your status, this is your reputation. And so Pluto has done quite a bit in your life here, and it hasn't always been easy. You have had to fight a really important battle to take back your power professionally. And now you should be at the point, Aries, where you are in that position, where you are ready to just be at the top of that mountain and see what you have earned. As Pluto creates those last licks energy for you in the 10th house of career during these next few weeks, it is possible that you are going to experience an opportunity to really rise to the occasion. Now, for you, this won't be easy because Pluto is making a square to Aries by sign. So you may have to get out of your own way to claim this. You may have to really overcome something, some kind of obstacle connected to your own personality and your own identity and what might be holding you back from claiming that professional pinnacle that Pluto does want you to reach now. So it will be quite interesting for you to take note of. Taurus, for you guys, Pluto is wrapping up a tour in your 9th house, which is all about beliefs, expansion, the higher mind. And this is a very kind transit for Taurus. And you are likely to experience a reward over the next few weeks where you are now able to establish yourself as the authority in some form of higher wisdom that you want to share with others. And you may have an opportunity to communicate that wisdom on a very large scale, internationally, perhaps at a professor guru level. It is going to be a very beautiful reward time for you. Gemini, for you, Pluto is wrapping up a tour of your 8th house, which is death, trauma, other people's money and resources. And Pluto here might bring a very important pinnacle or turning point over the next few weeks around balancing the use of other people's resources in your life and doing it strategically because Capricorn is a very strategic sign. So doing this deliberately, strategically, and in a way that is going to benefit you and the other person in a big way. This could be a big money transition for you. Passive income streams can become very powerful. An investor may come through for a business. You may do very well with investments in royalties and commission-based income. Inheritance is possible. Someone, depending on what else is going on in your chart, someone may have passed or is about to pass away, and there may be an issue with inheritance that you are working through. And while Pluto is at the anaretic degree, this may be a wrap up for you in that area. So it's also healing. Pluto in the 8th house is, and one of my other astrology teachers, Noel Till, he's passed away, but he was an astrologer who I also studied with. I took his advanced master's class many years ago. I actually took it, I believe it was 2006. But anyway, with Pluto in the eighth house, he always talked about how in maybe 85%, maybe even more, of the cases of people who were born with Pluto in the eighth house, it's a really good testimony for someone who, because of the significant amount of trauma they've gone through in their own life, they are likely to enter a course of psychotherapy or some kind of very deep healing transformation modality. And then, because of that, they are able to heal other people. So, for you, Gemini, as Pluto is wrapping up this transit through your eighth house, that may be happening for you thematically, where you are wrapping up some big healing connected to your own trauma and pain and crises in life. And you're now able to use that pain that you've transcended and healed from to heal others in a profound, significant way. Cancer. Pluto has been traveling through your seventh house of partnership. And if you are in the same relationship that you were in 2008, you and your spouse or partner have absolutely killed your relationship and reinvented it in a big way. And the power dynamics in your relationship and how you relate has also shifted. Your partner may have symbolically died and been reborn into a whole different person. And you would have had to choose to remain with that person, to either grow with that person, to allow them the space to grow in the direction that their life needed to take them while still being in the partnership. But for many of you, since 2008, this has been a time where a big relationship has died. And some of you have divorced, some of you have experienced the death of a partner. This could also be related to business. As Pluto is at that anaretic degree from September 2nd until it leaves November 19th, you're doing this very big wrap up and it's the last licks. And if you're still with the person that you're in a relationship with, you are going to feel this intensified energy of, wow, we really made it. We've really healed. We are a power couple now. And you really are. If things have been very rocky and yet you've stayed in the relationship, for you, this may be the final ending of the relationship, the final death blow of the relationship. So a lot depends on what else is going on in your chart, and you have to take that into consideration. Now, Leo, Pluto has been traveling through your sixth house of illness, daily work, routine. Pluto here, you have had a difficult time when it comes to authority with work relationships. Playing well with others in your work dynamic might not have been easy while Pluto's in your sixth house. Pluto here has also taught you that there is some kind of healing in your own body that can happen when you are connected to work that is service oriented, that gives you purpose, that has a healing power to it, and that perhaps heals others. So, this could be a very powerful time for you. And now, as Pluto is reaching the final degree from September 2nd through November 19th, there's a big shift for you in work related dynamics. You may come into your power now with work and an area of work that truly allows you to be of service and gives you actually this type of authority and this feeling of agency. It could be a really interesting time. Leos have had lots of roller coasters with career and work for a couple of different reasons. Pluto in the sixth house is one of those reasons. Uranus, more recently in the 10th house, is another. We're not focusing on that part though. We're just looking at Pluto here. So, what I can tell you for sure, Leo, is that as Pluto travels this last degree, you can look back and genuinely say that you are the boss of your own schedule. And the way that your daily routine looks now is completely different than what it was just a few short years ago, and most certainly from 2008. This could also be a big healing transit for you with illness. If you have been in a healing protocol for some kind of illness, that may be wrapping up and you may be starting to see the results of that as Pluto starts to move on. If you have neglected your health, Pluto at the 29th degree can bring you down to your knees and call your attention to a significant illness that you need to pay attention to. So, Leo, again, this isn't a personal consultation. I'm not looking at your chart. These are general forecasts. So, take all of that information in that general, through that general lens and apply it to your life. Virgo, you guys have had Pluto in your fifth house of children, creative self expression, romance, and pleasure since 2008. And now, as Pluto is giving you the last licks here, you have completely transformed your relationships with children. Some of you may have experienced a death or a symbolic death of a relationship with a child. Maybe a child is estranged from you, and this time period either will provide you the opportunity to heal that relationship, and there is potential for healing, or it may be this final letting go where you recognize that unfortunately you and your child are going in separate directions. And there will be a bit of an acceptance there for you since Pluto is in a fellow Earth sign. So it's the pain of that, I think, is for the most part behind you. And this 29th degree is more about an acceptance. And there could be a final crisis point connected to you and a child. But if there is, more likely than not, it will lead to a healing. So this could also be about your love life with love and relationship and romance and pleasure. Pluto here has forced you to become all or nothing in the approach to love. And some of you may have stayed alone and not dated for a long time, and then met someone where there was this fated, incredible magnetic connection. And if that is you, this relationship is definitely one of the more profound and intense connections of your life. You're also finishing up your relationship now between your power and your creative self, and you might have created something that is truly magnificent that you're ready to launch out into the world. Libra, for you guys, Pluto is finishing up fourth house lessons. This is home and family, and this might be a difficult time for you, especially if you have planets or points in Libra near the 29th degree, because the power struggles are at home. There could be somebody in your family who is challenging you in this area and wants all of the power and control, or has been manipulative in some way, and you're figuring out how to navigate that, how to deal with that. You're finishing this up though, and some of you may be relocating, maybe transforming your home physically in some way. It's also healing. There could be a healing between you and a relative, but if that happens, it comes at a price for you with your identity in some way. It's kind of like you're feeling that the greater good of the power of the family unit might be worth the hit that you may have to take to your identity. And that's all wrapping up. Scorpio, Pluto, your modern ruler, is finishing up important lessons in your third house of communication. And this is a transit for you that is about intellectual and communication empowerment. You have your voice in a very intense, healing, profound, powerful position. Knowledge is power. And let me tell you, Scorpio, you got it. There is some kind of major communication project for you that is reaching a climax, a pinnacle, an ending, and a launch. It is so harmonious to your identity, though. Whatever this is, it's kind of like you're not just speaking your truth, you're speaking your power, and your voice and your mind and the way that you communicate is taking on this extraordinary, powerful presence. I love that. Sagittarius, for you guys, Pluto is wrapping up second house transit, which is your livelihood, your income. And Pluto here is telling you, okay, my income has died and been reborn. I have really figured out how to get in my seat of power connected to my talents and abilities and how to use them to make my way in this world. And while Pluto is giving you the last licks in the second house, there can be that final curtain call, the final round of, okay, this is now where I am financially. It's because of what I've created. Let's see how that reflects my feeling of, am I financially empowered? If you are still not feeling financially empowered, these next few weeks are going to be very critical, where you have that opportunity to make and tweak some changes that will get you there. But you're going to leave this transit, Sagittarius, much stronger financially than you were when you first walked into it in 2008. I'm sure of that. Capricorn, well, you're the star of the show, aren't you? Pluto's giving you those last licks in your sign. If you have the sun, the ascendant, or a personal planet near the 29th degree of Capricorn, it's on. You have Pluto in a direct transit to that planet or point. And there can be this combination of loss and healing and surrender and letting go. It is an intense time. It can feel like you aren't in control, that you have no power. But you know what? The truth is, if something is removed from your life during this time, it is because you are learning a bigger lesson. Either you're learning a lesson that everything is temporary, you're learning a lesson that true power is not having attachments in an intense way, or you may be forced to stand up for yourself and stand in your own power. It's all culminating for you. And after this point, by November 19th, Pluto leaves your sign and you're done. Aquarius, you've got Pluto finishing up your 12th house transit, and that is undercover. That's isolation. That is everything behind the scenes. And so, whatever fear that you've had connected to power dynamics, you have had to kind of open your eyes and release certain anxieties. And maybe you have been afraid of your own power. Maybe you have made yourself smaller because there is somebody else in your life that you feel has all the power. As Pluto is getting ready to come out of this 12th house, that energy gets louder for you. It doesn't get softer, it gets louder because Pluto's going to enter your sign. And then it's really on, and you're going to be full on having those important lessons of empowerment, of claiming your personal power, of the correct use of power, of attachment, control, surrender, all of it. But while Pluto is wrapping up the 12th house, it is this feeling that I can't ignore Plutonian energy anymore. There's a hand grenade in my life somewhere, and the plug has been pulled and it's going to go off. And if I close my eyes to that, I know that the ramifications of that explosion are going to be even harder. So that's what Pluto's saying as it's finishing up the 12th house. It's saying, listen, Aquarius, here's the bomb. We're getting ready to detonate, like it or not. So stop closing your eyes. It's time to fully deal with the power dynamics. Pisces, you've had Pluto in your 11th house of social alliances. And this has been interesting because your friendships and the company you keep doesn't look the same at all. You have witnessed your friends and close alliances come into their own power, and you may be celebrating that for them. This could be super, super magnificent. It may also be that you have connected with powerful people who have helped you to get ahead. While Pluto is finishing up that transit, there may be a direct connection now between you and a friend, an associate, someone you're networking with, someone you're in a group or organization with, and that person helping to get you to this next level of personal empowerment in your life, where you're going to feel like you are completely in that driver's seat. And this can also be about healing. There could be a healing in your life that is the direct result of a friend's influence, a friend helping you out. And that could be amazing. So, guys, that is your Pluto and Capricorn last licks horoscope forecast over the next few weeks. It is going to be quite profound for many of you, especially if you have planets or points close to the end of the sign or in any of the cardinal signs. So let me know in the comments how this is all going for you, and get ready to let go of Pluto and Capricorn, journal in your astrology journal about it. What have you learned? What have you experienced? Gosh, Pluto's going to go into Aquarius, and Pluto will be in Aquarius until 2024. So you have a whole new area of life to get ready for with Plutonian transformation. But I want you to take a moment, take stock of Pluto and Capricorn first, and really celebrate how far you've come in breaking down the barriers in a certain area of your life to get to the other side of healing and empowerment.